So coming off a pretty heartbreaking loss to the Rams at home, essentially, even though they weren't. The 49ers have more really disappointing and troubling news for their season. Javon Hargrave, really their star defensive lineman, that heart of that defense is out for the entire year with partially torn triceps. Huge blow for that defense and that team overall. Really reminds me of the 2020 season 49ers had with just like a bunch of injuries, and that really derailed their year. It's really, I believe it's the only year they didn't make the playoffs in like the last like 5 years. Anyone who wants to correct me in the comments below, let me know, but I'm pretty sure that's the only time they missed the playoffs in a minute. So I'm not saying that's going to happen just yet, but the road to getting to the playoffs and ultimately the Super Bowl just got a lot harder today. And obviously prior to that, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries already, like they always do every year, which I'm going to get into in a minute. Debo obviously was out, George Kittle, McCaffrey, almost that entire offense of just those star players missing this past week. And I don't know, man, may not just be their year. We don't know. It's definitely looking kind of rough, and I'm a big believer in getting wins early on. I just think they're as critical as they are down the stretch. So for them to really blow that game, especially to the Rams, division rival, Kyle Shanahan has owned Sean McVay, and they had such a huge lead. For him to blow it like that, oh man, it's just like a rabbit hole of questions. Like, is Kyle Shanahan overrated? Is he really a good coach? I know he is a good coach. Obviously, just look at his record. Look what he's done, not only in San Fran but in Washington, in Atlanta with Matt Ryan. But man, it's just there's something there when it comes to him having the lead in fourth quarters, or just not knowing how to finish, not knowing how to close, and that's just such a big element to being a champion and really and winning. And I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. Maybe he just chokes up, internally, mentally. We saw it with Shane Waldron on the sideline calling plays for the Bears in Indy. His play sheet shaking, his hands visibly shaking. I get it, man. Being in the NFL, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. Everyone's watching. All the stars are out. The lights are bright. But you would just think of a guy like Kyle Shanahan, has all the resources in the world, has all the experience in the world with the Super Bowl losses, his dad, Mike Shanahan, just having all that experience, having all that knowledge. And man, it still feels like there's some sort of blockage there. Maybe he needs to see some sort of therapist or sports psychologist. Not even kidding. I feel like that would maybe help him. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's another kind of interesting topic going forward for the next year or two with the Niners. Unless they win a bowl, I think we really kind of have to question Kyle Shanahan. I'm not saying John Lynch would ever can him, because they kind of came up together. They essentially did. But I don't know. I think we really have to have a serious conversation of what this guy is really capable of. And is he capable of winning the big game? Not sure. But moving forward and focusing on the present with the Niners, Brock Purdy looks really, really, really good. I'm really happy for him because he just seems like a good guy, and he's easy to root for, and he has a pretty game, man. He has a pretty ball. I like his mechanics, and he just looks good out there, and he's pretty nifty on the ground as well. And all these quarterbacks have these massive contracts, in this past off season, and in my opinion, a lot of them are pretty undeserving. Now, Brock Purdy, the way he's been playing, the way he played in the Super Bowl, I was really impressed with him, and I'm really impressed with him again for the start of this year. And dude, I really hope he gets a massive, massive bag. He deserves it. He's not a Super Bowl champion as of right now, but besides that, he deserves it, bro. He definitely deserves it, and I hope he gets one. I'm sure he will. I mean, I'm recording this right after the 2 Monday Night Football games. Do you think Trevor Lawrence has done anything to deserve that contract? By the way, he's 0-8 in his last 8 starts. Did Tua do anything to deserve that massive contract? Take Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill out from the last couple of years he's been playing in the league. Like, come on, bro. Give me a break. What about Deshaun Watson? I could go on and on and on, but point is, really happy for Brock, and he deserves one. He's a guy to root for. Let's get it, man. Let me know if y'all like Brock Purdy. I know there's a lot of Brock Purdy haters out there. For some strange reason, I really don't know why. I really think the dude is a top 10 quarterback. Maybe even a top 8 quarterback at this point, but the Niners have their guy for the future. Absolutely no doubt about that now. Now let's get back to kind of the injury history of the 49ers. I feel like this team is always banged up. I really, really do. And I don't know why. Some teams just have a lot of injuries. They just deal with a lot of injuries for some strange reason. And who knows? Maybe it could be the strength and conditioning coach for the Niners, or some sort of off-season program, or maybe just they're just snake bitten, or something to do with the water down in San Fran. I have no idea. It's really one of those unexplainable kind of mysteries that some teams deal with every now and again, but it's been pretty consistent for the 49ers the past 4 or 5 years. Always deal with a lot of injuries, always. And to add to that, there was a report that McCaffrey went to Germany to see a specialist in regards to his Achilles. I think that's really troubling news. He might be out for a lot longer than expected. I believe he's supposed to come back week 8, I think, or slightly earlier. With something like that coming out of him really trying to figure it out still, and we're about to be in week 4, that's not the news you really want to hear, and I feel like he might be out for the entire year. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on that, and to be honest, it's been kind of miraculous how his health has been since arriving in San Francisco. Prior to that, in Carolina, he's dealt with just an enormous amount of injuries, and I really thought he was kind of cracked, but somehow he's been fairly healthy up to this point in San Fran, but I feel like it's finally catching up to him now. So let me know what y'all think about the 49ers in general right now, just the state of the San Francisco 49ers. Where do you think they're going to end up? Where do you think they're going to finish? They're in a rough spot right now, man. They're in a rough spot. You know, to lose to the Rams like that and to be dealing with all these injuries at the same time. I know we're only in week 4, but every game matters. Like I said, those early games, losing to division rivals, are just as important as winning those week 14, week 15, week 17 games, man, I'm telling you. But good news for the Niners. They have the Patriots coming up week 4. Definitely a get-right game there. But then they have the Cardinals, Seahawks, Chiefs, and Cowboys in October. I feel like a lot of questions will be answered about this team in that month. And, you know, the NFC West is pretty competitive. Really looks like the Seahawks are kind of taking a pretty good lead on being NFC West champs this year. But the Rams and the Cardinals look pretty competent this year as well. I just think the 49ers had their chance, man. It's just going to be really, really tough to one, get in the playoffs, and two, like get back to the Super Bowl, man. I don't know, man. I really think they had their chance. I don't think they're going to get back there. I think it's going to be the Lions or someone else this year. But let me know what y'all think. Do you think the 49ers are done? Or do you think they'll be okay and they'll make it back to the big game and play the Chiefs and maybe win it this year? Let me know. That's all I got for right now. Peace.